Yeah, what I told the guys in the locker room was this. I thought that was as complete a team complementary win as we've had, from a standpoint of, we didn't really start particularly well on defense. They go right down the field. Offensively, we answer. We start really hot, right, offensively, get ourselves a lead, which allows the defense to kind of settle in. They make some adjustments. Our offense starts sputtering a little bit. Defense steps up and starts making a bunch of plays. And I challenged the guys at halftime on defense to go out and get us 2 turnovers. I said 2 turnovers will win us the game in the second half. And we were able to go out there and cause 2 fumbles and recover them both. And I think that's the next step for us on defense. And, that was huge, I thought. And then I was just really proud of our offense in terms of how we grinded through. That's a really good defense. It's not easy to move the ball on them, and we just kept pounding. And then for us to be able to run the ball effectively the way we did to milk the clock in the fourth quarter and really suck the air out of the game, that's not hard to do. That's not easy to do in this conference. And so it's a great win. It's a great win against a really quality opponent. I think this win will age well as the year goes on, and now it's on to the next. And now we got to become road warriors and go on the road for 3 straight, starting with a really talented Arkansas team next week. And I'm sure they'll be fired up for the return of Coach Petrino back into Fayetteville, and that's a tough place to play. And so we have to get ready and go out and try to be 1-0 again next week. But from there, we'll open it up to questions.
Coach, front left, Olin.
Yeah, Mike. Was there any adjustments or changes that you can tell us about from the defensive side after they had scored on 2 of their first 3 possessions, and y'all pretty much shut them down after that?
Yeah, they were doing a little bit more in the RPO game maybe than we had anticipated, and so we were able to tweak some things with our looks and how we were presenting some different things, and I think that helped us. I think the first drive we just didn't execute particularly well. We really got on our heels, didn't handle things really well. The second drive they made a lot of plays. I thought they got in some one-on-one situations and made some really good throws and catches, and so we had to try to find some ways to change and alter the windows a little bit in the RPO game. I think we were able to do that.
And I wanted to ask you about, you mentioned that Florida did well on their defense, and there's good defense too, but how much would you say that losing Le'Veon affected the offense tonight?
It is what it is. I love Le'Veon. Hopefully he's okay, but we've got to be able to play, and that's SEC football. This team has not. I don't know. Have they given up 34 points to anybody? I don't think so, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. So, it's hard to say that scoring the most points that defense has allowed is a rough night.
Coach to the right.
Coach.
To the right. Sorry.
Coach, obviously your best performance of the season came to penalties, only 3 for 30. You just talk about your performance as a team and the discipline you guys showed tonight.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's been a work in progress. It's going to continue to be a work in progress. It certainly helps us when we don't go backwards. It makes the game easier to play for sure. And so I thought, we did a good job tonight. We got to continue to do it that way.
Coach, second row, Aaron.
Hey, Coach. Monday when we talked to you, you said you thought that Florida was going to be the best team that you guys were going to face this year. Do you still believe that after tonight?
Yes. I mean, really, really talented football team. That's a really talented football team. I don't know what they did to the scheduling gods to draw the schedule that they did. I said that to Coach Napier pregame. They play a gauntlet of a schedule. It's 4 straight top 10 teams that they've played, 3 of them on the road. That's hard. It's really hard. I think that is a really talented team. I told you guys I thought DJ was playing really well. That certainly showed tonight until we were able to kind of start affecting them with the rush, and they're a good football team. We're a good football team. They're a good football team. It was a really good SEC football game.
To the right, Carter.
Just with how good you talk about how their defense is, what was working for you guys offensively? First 3 drives, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we hit the big explosive play. That was really good on the first play of the game. That was a good start. I thought Marcel was in a really good rhythm, delivering the ball really well. I thought we were able to kind of get the ball to the guys we wanted to get the ball to, and and then they made some adjustments and they started really putting a lot of brackets on Casey and Mario and made it challenging to get those guys the ball. I think maybe that's kind of where some of the stall outs came from. There were some boxes where we hoped we could run the ball a little bit better and we weren't able to get it going the way we wanted to, and that's because their D-line is really good. But we just kept grinding away to go get a win.
And you touched on it, but I guess no update yet on Le'Veon Moss?
No update yet.
Coach to the left again, Matthew.
Coach, how excited is this team about the future of Jamari Morrow?
Really excited. I think anybody who knows me knows that by nature I'm not necessarily the most optimistic human on the planet. And so some of the remarks that we've tried to make about him to let people know that we have a lot of confidence in him and his talent and his ability. But he's also like an extremely competitive kid. And, we didn't hesitate to get him the ball. We're giving him the ball in the fourth quarter of a game where we got to get first downs because he's running behind his pads and he's spinning off tackles and he's leaning forward, and he's just a competitive kid. And we're going to continue to try to find ways. We've got a really deep backfield. We're able to get E.J. Smith out there at the end of the game and try to run through the 4-minute offense with him because he's a little bit bigger back. His ball security is really good, and so it's a really talented group. And it's hard to get them all the ball as much as you want to, but we try.
And then Ruben hadn't scored in quite a while. Is there any sort of message within the team trying to get such a talented back like him in the end zone?
No, we just called the game and felt like that was the right play to call, and we were able to score. You're not really thinking about who you're trying to get touchdowns for in a game like that. You're just trying to get touchdowns.
To the right, Travis.
Like, in what ways have you seen your defense grow, especially in the second half from the last 3 games?
We're pressuring the quarterback a lot. I think that's where it all starts from. If you look at some of the things that the front did, stopping the run tonight, I think that's 3 straight now against the SEC opponents where we've held them under 100 yards rushing. That will win you football games. And there were times where we were stopping the runs without extra bodies. And if we can do that, that obviously makes things a lot better for us. And so, as a credit to those guys, I thought our safeties tackled better tonight. That helps too. And so, I think Jaden Baugh is a really talented back. He's a big physical kid, and to hold him to 65 yards and 3.6 a carry, the way we played the game specifically is a really good thing.
And with what Florida means to the Smith family, cool symmetry to have him close out the game last year and this year.
Yeah, for sure. Wasn't on purpose by any sense of the imagination. We have confidence in EJ regardless of who we're playing, but I'm sure for him and the family, it's a really good thing for him to be out there down the stretch and kind of grinding the game away.
To the left again, second row, Alex.
You had mentioned a couple weeks ago you kind of split the season into quarters. You guys are at the end of the second quarter, I guess, per se. When you guys were starting this 3-game home stretch, did you talk to your team about taking care of business at home and what that could do for your season?
Yeah, I think, what we talked about, honestly, was the middle. Like, I think what I told him was this: after we got done with the Notre Dame game, that was our 3rd game. And I said, seasons get defined in the middle. And there's a middle in every part of your year, right? There's a middle of the off season when you're like, nothing good is going on and you're in the middle, right? There's a middle of fall camp when nothing good is going on and you're just in the middle. It's the same thing in the season. And what I told him was, how you handle the middle will define you. There's a lot of teams that can come out and have a lot of energy for 3 games. The teams that can handle that 6-game stretch through the middle, those are the teams that separate themselves. And so we're halfway there. We've done the things that we were supposed to do for half of that. There's still another 3 games, and obviously they're going to step ladder in difficulty with us having to go on the road now and play some really quality opponents.
Front left, Mark.
Coach, I was wondering if you talk a little bit about the performance of the offensive line. No sacks, 1 pressure, no tackles for loss. It's a pretty clean sheet.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's not on our stat sheet, but yeah, we're starting to come into our own on the offensive line, and you're starting to really hear it on Tuesdays in practice. Like, Tuesdays in practice are starting to get really physical. I think our O-line is getting into their groove. I think our D-line is getting into their groove, and we're starting to kind of play like a physical SEC football team needs to play. And those kids are doing a really good job. Marcel's really clean most of the night. We talk a lot about how much that matters. Keeping your quarterback from getting hits, keeping your quarterback from taking the wear and tear. He sits in some really clean pockets to deliver the football.
Coach to the right, third row, Christy.
I know there's a lot of football left to be played, but what can you say?
There sure is.
What can you say about your team to be one of the few undefeated teams across the country now at this point in the season?
That it doesn't mean anything if we don't finish. It's been the word of the offseason. It's the only thing that we've talked about. We're really excited with where we are, but we're nowhere yet. And so, we're in this journey. We're focused 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time, and we're focused on finishing every opportunity that we have, and that's focusing now on an Arkansas team, and that's really all we're talking about.
Coach all the way in the back, Donna.
Coach, can you talk about just Theo and Nate's performance tonight and what that tight end room really does for this offense?
Yeah, and I wouldn't even add Amari. It was nice to see Amari get a couple catches. I think we had 8 targets to our wide receivers tonight, or 8 catches by our 8 catches by our tight ends tonight. And again, as this becomes a long season, and Mario and KC start gaining more and more attention and how people are going to handle them, other people are going to have to step up and make plays. And got to get Marcel consistently going through all of the progressions to all the different parts of the route tree. But you're going to see Theo get involved. You're going to see Amari get involved. You're going to see Ashton get involved. Like those guys, Terry get involved. Like we're going to have to be able to spread the ball around if they're just going to identify 2 guys and double them most of the night.
And then 2 for 33 in your last 3-game stretch on third down conversions. Obviously, we know you. I'm sorry, I had to. Obviously you enjoy third down. Just how much of an emphasis has this been, not just throughout this stretch, but the whole season?
It's funny. We don't emphasize it any more or less week to week. We're obviously in a really good rhythm. I think we are pressuring the quarterback really well. Some of that is on them. I think sometimes, we put too much emphasis on scheme and, what we're calling or what we're doing or some of it is just our guys are just winning. We're trying to put them in positions where they can get some one-on-ones that are favorable to them, but at the end of the day, they're just winning. And it's really hard to sit in that pocket right now on third down. And again, I think the distance was right for most of the night again, and it's a challenge. It's just a challenge with the way we're rushing the passer, and so we got to continue to keep people off schedule. We got to continue to bring that rush every week. You're 1 week away from it all going away, and but obviously that's been a pretty good stretch for us.
Coach to the right, second row, Jesus.
Coach, you touched on this a little bit, but there's so many positives here, 6-0, but your defense, you mentioned that 3 games in a row, holding them under 100 yards rushing, the third down. What are you most impressed about today?
Yeah, well, the thing that I'm most impressed about today is how we played as a team. I think that is the thing that stood out to me the most is, that's the first time in a game where we had the swings like that. We had the games where, offensively we played well at Notre Dame, defensively we didn't, and offense kind of carried us. The last 2 weeks until the fourth quarter, Mississippi State, it was kind of more the defense carrying us. Today, we kind of responded to the game and the way the game was playing, and so we needed the offense to make plays early to settle the defense down, and they did it. We needed the defense to make plays to pick the offense up, and they did it. And so what I'm most proud of is the way they played the game together tonight, and that's learning how to win. That's learning how to step up to the moment and the occasion, and obviously we've got to continue to play like that.
To the left, fourth row, Aiden.
So this is now the 10th game in a row where y'all have seen over 100,000 folks at Cal Field. What's the message to the 12th man in Bryan College Station tonight as they're consistently showing out for your team?
Thank you. Like I'd said this in the press conference when I got hired. I've said this after every game that we haven't gotten it done for them in Kyle Field. We are 1,000,000% committed to building them the program that they deserve. They're the most passionate fan base in the country. They're the best fan base in the country. They show up and support us week in and week out, and there's not anybody in this building who doesn't sincerely appreciate that or feel that we owe them when we go out there and play at a level that befits that support. And so we're very appreciative to them. We appreciate to everything they do, and hopefully we'll get back here in October, November with some really good stuff on the line the next time we're back here.
Coach will stay to the left, third row.
You mentioned players just winning. How much easier does it make it for you guys as a staff when you have a player like Cassius Howell who's just winning constantly right now?
Yeah, it makes it really easy. And I think, I do think we try to do some creative things with him, and our D-line coaches do a really good job each week of formulating a strong rush plan where, we have answers if they start chipping them. We just try to create ways to make sure that they can't just focus on him. But yeah, it helps when you have a difference maker like that on the edge for sure. And then what you see is you then see, Dalen Evans get isolated, right? And so Dalen Evans is isolated at the end of the game in a must-pass situation, and that's just really hard because they're giving so much attention to Cassius. And so, he's a difference maker.
All right, anything else for Coach?
Awesome. Thank you, guys.